all so much for attending our Coffee on the Couch. I'm Tanya Ortega, the Communications Corridor Liaison for the William Cannon Corridor. In light of the current COVID-19 restrictions for in-person meetings, we wanted to uphold our commitment to share relevant information about the corridor construction plans for William Cannon. So we're excited to have our first virtual Coffee on the Couch, and we're just about to get started. But first, I wanted to remind everyone that you can scan the QR code on this page to sign in and make sure that we have all of your information. All you have to do is open up your camera on your phone, and you should get a prompt from a web page. You can just tap that and fill out the sheet with some of your basic information. Once again, thank you so much for attending, everyone. I'm Tanya Ortega, and today we're going to introduce you to the Corridor Ambassador team. We're going to provide an overview of the improvements specifically for the William Cannon corridor through funds from the 2016 Mobility Bond, which includes upcoming construction and some future projects, and Corridors for Complete Communities will also provide us an update about their plans. So this is your Corridor Ambassador team. We have Patty Tilley. She's the project manager for the corridor and will be giving us an overview of the plan improvements. As I mentioned before, my name is Tanya Ortega and I'm the Communications Corridor Liaison. I came onto the team in October of last year, so I'm excited to increase our communication efforts as we get ready to break ground on some important projects. Kathleen Rubin is with Corridors for Complete Communities and works on all of the corridors for the program. She's going to be giving us an overview of what her team is working on. And behind the scenes, we have Kelly Buthy, Trisha Rangel, we have Nikki Acosta and Adrian Brown, part of the communications team, and they're going to be capturing some of your feedback and be helping us out with the presentation. Well, a lot of you probably already know about the corridor program, but I'd like to give you a brief overview anyway for those who may be new to it all. In 2016, Austin voters approved a $720 million mobility bond, and out of that large amount of money, some $482 million were allocated for safety and mobility improvements to Austin corridors. William Cannon is one of the 9 corridors, but that also includes North Lamar, South Lamar, Burnett Road, East Riverside, Guadalupe Street, Airport Drive, Slaughter Lane, and East MLK. When it comes to William Cannon, those limits are between McKinney Falls Parkway to the east and Southwest Parkway to the west, and each corridor has a mobility plan that the program used to create the schematic for improvements, and now we're inching towards the final design phase for those improvements, with construction beginning soon. Now, before we dive into the William Cannon improvements themselves, I want to talk about the history of the corridor. And don't worry, it's going to be brief. So the original portion of William Cannon Drive was built in the 1960s by the Austin City Council as an arterial loop for south of US Highway 290 or Ben White Boulevard. In the 70s, the corridor continued to expand from Menchaca Road to I-35, and William Cannon in its current alignment was not constructed until the late 80s. Prior to that time, most of the corridor was either farmland or consisted of small residential developments. Then through the early 90s, a growth in large residential development happened along the corridor. Recently, William Cannon Drive has grown even more to meet the Easton Park development east of McKinney Falls Parkway and future development in the Barton Hills area west of Southwest Parkway. So we can all agree that the corridor continues to change. Well, now that we know the history, let's talk about the need for mobility and safety improvements. The William Cannon corridor has been identified by Vision Zero as a high crash corridor, and it's important for us to address those safety needs. Vision Zero data notes that between March 2015 and February 2020, there have been 4,119 traffic crashes across the William Cannon corridor. Of those crashes, 13 people died, and 63 others were severely injured. 16 of those crashes involved bicyclists and 55 involved pedestrians. Again, that's just in the last 5 years. Now I'm going to turn it over to Patty Tilley to go through the mobility and safety improvements that are being constructed through the corridor, and some of the ones we'll be seeing shortly.
Thanks, Tanya. Some of the first improvements that we are going to see breaking ground on William Cannon in the next few months will be new signalized pedestrian crossings, or as we call them, pedestrian hybrid beacons, PHB for short. This is something you may have seen before. When there are no pedestrians around, the crossing lights remain off. When a pedestrian pushes the button to cross, The light starts flashing yellow and eventually turns into a solid red. This allows the traffic to continue to flow when there are no pedestrians and provides a safe crossing opportunity when someone wants to cross the street. These are important because they address the lack of safe crossing points along a busy corridor and offer a high visibility crosswalk for motorists to see. Starting later this spring, a few new PHBs will break ground at McCarty Lane, Rockridge Drive, and the Onion Creek soccer fields. In the fall or winter of 2021, you will see 3 additional PHBs at Elm Creek Drive, Lost Valley, and the Stevenson Nature Preserve. So you have an idea of what these PHBs will look like. Here are some before and after renderings of the Rockridge Drive intersection, which is just east of I-35 on William Cannon. As you can see on this before picture, there is no place to cross the street safely. On the rendered view of Rockridge Drive, you can see the safe crossing and the overhead arm that will have the flashing lights when pedestrians are ready to cross. With these upcoming improvements, we will also see some new signal lights. Those will be located at Sunstrip Drive, Bannockburn Drive, Rialto Boulevard, and Vega Avenue. We expect those to break ground sometime between fall and winter of 2021. When it comes to the timeline, these projects could have several phases and will take anywhere from 3 to 6 months to complete. On the right side of your screen, you can see a before and after of a new signal we installed late last year at Cooper and North Lamar. Aside from the signal itself, you can see the high visibility crosswalk that was installed, and we can expect the same on William Cannon. I also want to briefly speak about the overall improvements that are coming to William Cannon over the next few years. The Corridor Program Office anticipates the majority of our construction across all the corridors to happen between 2022 and 2024, and that will include the following: intersection improvements with upgraded traffic signals, turn lane modifications, ADA compliant curb ramps, and high visibility crosswalks, new shared use paths for cyclists and pedestrians, new protected bike lanes, up to 8 new traffic signals, intermittent median islands at various locations, pavement restoration, drainage improvements, a new bridge at Marble Creek, roadway widening from 2 to 4 lanes between Running Water Drive and McKinney Falls Parkway, streetscaping and landscaping. The Corridor Program Office will continue to have these public outreach sessions leading up to those new improvements.
Thank you, Patty, for sharing that information with us. And now we can talk about what you can expect during construction. We're expecting to break ground on our first set of 2021 projects in April and May, and construction is planned to happen daily between the hours of 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. And we want to be upfront with you, there's going to be some impacts to the traveling public and businesses during construction. We'll have intermittent lane closures to accommodate for our work, and that includes some bicycle and pedestrian detours or complete closures in place. There will also be some work done on the weekend to speed up the construction process, and weather may delay some of our work. Now, as I mentioned, there may be some temporary impacts to business access as part of our construction. And that's where we're planning to reach out to businesses to discuss access with them on a one-on-one basis. We want to ensure that we have an open line of communication between the program and the business owners, especially during construction as things tend to move quickly. In order to facilitate access changes to the businesses, we're going to be putting up business access signage that will include the business's name and pointing to the temporary driveway. Our communication for the traveling public and the rest of the businesses will be proactive and consistent. We will provide updates on lane closures, potential delays and impacts, and timelines through the corridor email blast and through tweets. Larger milestones will be announced in the 2016 Mobility Bond newsletter as well. And we're going to be posting updates on our website from the William Cannon Corridor. You can see that address at the bottom of your screen. Now I'm going to turn it over to Kathleen Rubin to provide an update on the work that Corridors for Complete Communities has been doing.
Thanks, Tanya. Hello, my name is Kathleen Rubin, and I'm a member of our Complete Communities team here at the Corridor Program Office. Very quickly, I'd like to share a little bit about the Complete Communities approach and our purpose here at the Corridor Program Office. You may already be familiar with Imagine Austin, which is Austin's 30-year plan created in 2010. One of Imagine Austin's goals is to support complete communities, where residents can easily reach their housing, work, recreation, schools, and services. When Council created this construction program, they asked us to promote Imagine Austin's Complete Communities goals, in addition to all of the safety and mobility improvements that were just described by Tanya and Patty. Our team works to ensure that our corridors are people places and that anyone, whether you're traveling by sidewalk, bike, transit, or car, you are aware of and easily can access your home, your work, and all of the services and amenities like parks and trails and other important cultural institutions that exist on the corridor. There are a number of important locations along William Cannon that have already been identified on this map about your favorite places on William Cannon. As part of our Complete Communities effort, we are exploring opportunities at a few of these locations, whether it's building clearer connections to parks and trails, community gathering, street tree plantings, or public art. First, I'd like to give a brief update on our Art in Public Places, or AIPP, opportunity, which will be located in the far east end of the corridor between Running Water and McKinney Falls Parkway. We are working with the Arts Commission, the AIPP panel, and several community advisors on an artist selection process. Once on board, the artists will be engaging the community for feedback on the type and location of the artwork. And Anna Bradley from our AIPP team is here today. So if you have questions about the AIPP process, she will be available to answer those during our Q&A session. If you are interested in being a juror on the selection panel, which is a paid opportunity, please reach out to Anna at anna.bradley, BRADLEY, at austintexas.gov, and she will put that email address in the chat as well. Currently, our team is also looking at the Onion Creek Soccer Complex, where you can see a new signalized pedestrian crossing. Currently, our team is looking at the Onion Creek Soccer Complex. Here is an image of the existing condition at that location. And in this next rendering, you can see that this space will look like after a new signalized pedestrian crossing is installed near the two Cap Metro bus stops. This place is also very near several trail connections, the Southeast Branch Library, and several elementary schools. We are looking at ways to enhance its presence and make passerbys aware of the many amenities that exist nearby.
Thanks, Kathleen. And again, if you have any questions, you can put them in the chat. We're almost to our Q&A section. I know we have a few questions. Or like Kathleen said, if you have any suggestions for corridors for complete communities, you can get in touch with them, or you can just also put it in the chat and we'll get your question over to them. Now, you are seeing this QR code right now on your screen. So we're asking you to use your phone and just open up your camera setting. I don't know if everybody knows how to use that QR code option, but that's going to give us a chance to get your information and just get you all signed up for our emails and all of the information that's coming down from William Cannon. Now, if you are a business owner and you think you're going to be impacted by the upcoming construction and would like to discuss it further, please reach out to us and we can set up a time to talk. And you can see the email again on your screen, as well as the phone number. We are going to be putting all of this, this whole video, as well as the PowerPoint slides on our website, the austintexas.gov/William Cannon. So you can always go there if you want to look at this video again, or if you want to have access to some of the information that we presented to you. And also you can email anna.bradley@austintexas.gov if you have any interest in serving as a selection juror to help with the review, to review applications or recommend an artist for the project. So that's our whole presentation today. We're going to be moving into our Q&A section, and Kelly has been collecting the questions throughout this presentation, and we're going to be answering as much as we can here in the next 15 to 20 minutes. So as I mentioned, we're going to be following up with people afterwards if we don't get to your question today. So please make sure to type in your email into the chat if we didn't get to your question, so we can get in touch with you. Kelly, do we have those questions?
I do have them. Thank you, Tanya. Also, I'll just say really quickly that it sounds like at least one participant was having trouble seeing the presentation with the illustrations and visuals. And so I want to just echo what Tanya was saying. This presentation will be available on the William Cannon Project webpage. And then also just want to remind folks that if there was something in particular you were interested in, or if you would like a copy of the presentation, I'm sure you can email Tanya, the corridor liaison, who is hosting this meeting, and I'm sure she can send whatever specific materials you may have missed as well. So we'll get that to you. And let's look at these questions. We've got Natalie asking, I live just west of Mopac off of William Cannon. People drive way too fast in this area. Are there any improvements that will slow down this traffic?
Yes, thanks, Natalie, for your question. We are looking at that section of the corridor for ways that we can reduce the speed. I live very close to the corridor, so quite aware of how fast people drive. We are installing a couple of PHVs, which do tend to slow down as people see them. They're very bright and attract the driver's attention. So we're hoping that that will reduce some of the speed on that road or section of road.
Thank you, Patty. We have another question from Dylan. Are protected bike lanes planned for the entire corridor or just specific sections?
Yes, Dylan, we are doing on-street protected bike lanes on a couple of sections, which run from Southwest Parkway to US 290 and from Pleasant Valley to Salt Springs. Those will be the on-street protected bike lanes, and we also have shared use paths between those locations to provide safer bicyclist access.
Thank you. We have another question from Jenny with Austin Men's Soccer. She was asking if the various documents presented during this meeting will be made available, and yes, they will. We probably already answered your question before, but I'll just reiterate that the presentation will be online at www.austintexas.gov/William Cannon, probably within the next couple days or so. And if you have any other specific questions or would like any specific documents mailed to you, like this presentation, emailed to you, go ahead and reach out to Tanya Ortega. We may also have the presentation on the website as well. So we'll get you what you need there. And then we also have another question, and it is, can you talk about the improvements to the intersection at William Cannon and Pleasant Valley?
Yes, so right now the current condition is that the right turn lane is kind of just protected and very fast. So we're doing something called a smart right, which basically slows, it makes it a kind of a sharper right turn. So you have to slow down and the pedestrians can safely cross since vehicles don't just zoom through that intersection. We are adding some dual left turn lanes if you are heading south from Pleasant Valley to William Cannon to make a left there.
Thank you, Patty. Another question we have is, are there any considerations to add traffic calming pillars on the car side of the bike lanes on West William Cannon Drive?
So the areas that are protected bike lanes will have a small curb. It's about a 2-foot height section, or not 2 foot. It's a really small curb, and that will have that will be on the bicyclist side between the bicyclists and the vehicles.
Thank you. Will the space for the new lanes for William Cannon between Brody and Westgate come from the medians? Will we lose the existing median trees?
We currently don't have lane widenings in that section of William Cannon. We're just adding the shared use paths there.
Thank you. The last question I have right now, and see, we're doing pretty well on time, so if anybody has final questions, feel free to send those to me. But Fred would like some more info on stagecoach activity by the preserve. He's concerned about adding traffic to Condo Private Drive.
I'm not sure. Kathleen, do you want to tackle that question?
I think, and Fred, you can correct me in the chat. Are you concerned about, I believe there's unfunded old vision plans to potentially widen range, widen the capacity on William Cannon near Stagecoach? Is that what you're worried about? We can also follow up with you on that. Oh, he's interested in whether there may be an art project back there near Stagecoach.
So I think I can speak to that one.
Okay.
The Art in Public Places project is designated for the very east end of William Cannon. So though we don't know exactly where the art is located until the artist is on board and has an opportunity to engage the community about what the artwork, what type of artwork it should be and where it should go, we do know that it will exist between Running Water and McKinney Falls Parkway, which is that very easternmost segment of the corridor. As far as looking at Stagecoach Drive, we have heard a lot of feedback from folks about Stevenson Nature Preserve as an important amenity and trail system and public space that folks like to hike and walk their dogs. So we are looking at opportunities to make this asset more visible from the roadway. Currently, there's very little signage or any sort of distinguishing traits that allow folks when they're zipping by very quickly to know, oh, maybe I should slow down a little bit here. There may be folks walking their dog or hiking in this area, or maybe I might enjoy accessing that trail system myself. So we're in very early stages of sort of technical feasibility, what may be possible there. But we are looking at ways to sort of enhance visibility of that space and the entrance, which does intersect at Stagecoach and William Cannon, where there's a Cap Metro stop and it sounds like a condo or a small residential complex that exists right there as well.
Thank you, Kathleen. I have a comment and a question from Julia. And Kathleen, you may have spoken a little bit to this, but I'm going to go ahead and read it. Julia says, I'm sure it's known, but the speeding that someone mentioned on West William Cannon also exists on East William Cannon from Bluff Springs and further east. Also, I would like additional info on nominating / applying for the art project.
I can speak to the art question if you like.
Thanks, Anna.
Thank you for your question. The artists will be selected from a pre-qualified corridor only artist pool. They have the option to opt in. There were 115 artists that were selected for that particular corridor pool. And of those, we had 61 applicants opt in to the William Cannon corridor opportunity. So from those 61 applications, we will have our selection juror of community advisors, which is allowed through using the pool. We'll have those people review the applications and make a recommendation for one artist and one alternate for the project. Because of the price point of this artwork opportunity, the recommendations from the community juror panel will go to City Council for authorization.
Anna, can you also give them your email just in case they want to follow up with you on that?
Sure, I did put it in the chat. Again, it's anna.bradley@austintexas.gov. And if you would like more information about other opportunities that we have open right now, you can always visit publicartist.org/Austin, Texas, /Austin AIPP, and I can put that in the chat as well if you're interested in other open calls for artists. Thank you.
Great, thank you very much. All right, we have another question. Can you comment on the evolving situation at William Cannon at US 290? I'd like to see Save Oak Hills plan come through, but also a healthy interaction between the city of Austin and TxDOT that allows pedestrians and bicycles to get through that area. That would be great.
Yes, we have been in constant coordination with TxDOT at the their Oak Hill Parkway project, and they have plans for shared use paths as well that will help get bicyclists and pedestrians through that intersection safely.
Thank you. All right, we have another question. Is there a way to get the word to people that walking their dogs in the nature preserve is not allowed? The preserve was for road runners, not dogs. I don't want to steal anybody's answer to this question, but my gut reflex jumping in here might be this may be out of corridor program office jurisdiction, and it may be like a 311 request situation. I don't know if they have, they may know how to route that concern a little bit better, because I think it's valid, but does anybody else have any additional thoughts on that? Okay.
I'm not sure if Parks and Rec would be the right department to contact about that, maybe.
Yeah, potentially so. 311 usually will know how to route that, and I believe they track these sorts of comments to sort of flag what the community is kind of saying around these sorts of things. So that might be helpful data for them to have, is that question as well. And I'm sorry, I can't help more with that. Okay, any other questions? I'm at the end of the question list, everyone.
Well, I don't know if we don't have any more questions. So again, thank you all so much for attending. As Kelly was saying, this presentation is going to be uploaded to the William Cannon webpage. If you use your cell phone and again, scan this QR code on your screen right now, that will take you directly to the webpage. Or you can see it here on top of the screen, austintexas.gov/William Cannon. And then our email is just williamcannon@austintexas.gov. You can get in touch with us that way if you have any questions. And again, both the English and the Spanish presentations are going to be on the website. But I think that's it. Again, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope y'all have a great day.